Good evening, Kenton community. My name is Sabatino Samato. I am your superintendent, and this is your weekly connection update. So today in the connection, we're going to recap some of the things from this past week, including our budget vote, our vaccination clinic that was a very big success on both of those fronts. We're going to talk about finishing the end of the year and end of the year events, and then we'll close off with our recognition. So let's get going. First, our budget vote was this past Tuesday, and folks, I really want to say a big thank you to our entire community who came out strong. Everyone, it was actually the first time in Kenton that I've been in an event where there were many people, since I've only been here since July and we've been in the midst of a pandemic the whole time. It was just so wonderful to see all of our people, the residents that came out that really were in large numbers and in a high percentage in support of the budget. Just to talk about the numbers, of the approximately 2,150 residents that came out, more than 77% voted in favor for the budget, and that's huge. Folks, we had one of our largest turnouts actually since 2015, and a large portion of the residents voted for the budget, and thank you for the support. Now we can continue, just like our plan says, continue to move Kenton forward, because folks, we're going to come out of this pandemic like we're being shot out of a cannon. We have a lot of promise ahead of us. It is going to be an exciting time. We're going to do this together, and we're going to make Kenton on the move. Let's talk about that just a little bit. This budget really poised and positioned us to do some things like recovery and focus on learning loss, but then also to do a deeper dive into our district and what the future of our district will really look like, what we can do to be strategic, what we can do to make sure that we really have the strategies in place to continue to move us forward. So once again, thank you very much for coming out, and a special congratulations to our newly elected board member, Mr. Todd Marcourt, as well as the rest of our community for voting yes to all of our propositions, including our bus proposition. It was a very great day for Kenton, and it will be a wonderful year coming up. And we're looking at that, folks. We know that we can expect, I know this has been a tough end of our year. I've shared with you the challenges that we faced with bringing our secondary students back, but we can anticipate that our scheduling, our planning, we see the rates coming down. Our new year, I am fully expecting we will not have any problem having all of our students all the time, every day, back in school the way that they should be. Stay tuned, because with these rates going down the way that they are, hopefully we're going to get more guidance about next year soon, and I'll be sharing it with our community immediately. And even though we ran into those challenges, it brings us to our next point in the weekly connection, our vaccination clinic. And I'm excited to tell you that we had a very successful vaccination clinic this past Wednesday at Kenmore East. We sent out, if you remember last week, through a partnership with Rite Aid, we really had a great thing going where we sent out a registration so that families can sign up students for specific time slots, and we got over 200 students vaccinated. Now, folks, I want our community to understand, I don't want anybody to feel pressured by this. This is another resource that's offered to our community, offered to our kids, if you want to take advantage of it. No pressure at all. But the great thing is that more than 200 students were there and took advantage of it. So many on a waiting list that we're really pushing to have another one offered next week. Now, I want you to be prepared, because this weekend, probably on Saturday, we should know by then if we're able to have another vaccination clinic for next Wednesday, and then we'll push that information out to all of our families. So be prepared for that, and we'll have signups the same way. We may even be able to do more students for the time slots. I want to remind those families that came to this past Wednesday, you'll be receiving information about returning in 3 weeks for your second dose. Speaking about the end of the year and moving forward 3 weeks and 4 weeks into the future, this message is directly to our students, especially our secondary students, about finishing strongly. You're going to see it right in the connection. Folks, I know it sounds corny. People will call it a Samatoism. It's like the runner at the end of the race. You could see the finish line. You need to finish strongly. Students, no excuses. Let's make sure that we're doing everything that we can to cross that finish line. We know, even though we ran into some of these challenges with our secondary full-time, we do still have a great secondary model, and we've had it all through this pandemic, where we have 4 days of synchronous instruction. Students are in person 2 days, and then they also log into the class, and they're live streaming with that class the other 2 days. Our teachers are doing a phenomenal job, have done a phenomenal job since the beginning, making sure that all the lesson planning and coordination that goes into that is effective. But folks, that will not be enough if we don't push through to the end. So make sure, finishing strongly, let's make sure we bring this this tough year, to a very strong close. And speaking of the end of the year, I'm sure this is our last topic before recognition for this week. There's probably a lot of confusion out there in that things change so rapidly, and they've been changing so rapidly. The great news is that we see restrictions really being lifted more and more. And I want to send a message to our families specifically. End of the year events, especially at the high school, will continue to be clarified. And what I mean by that, right now, as we hear New York State give guidance, we're receiving further clarification. Remember, schools, the school systems, school districts receive separate guidance. New York State, usually that guidance leads the way, and then we have guidance that comes out from New York State Education Department pretty soon after that. But I can tell you that especially our high schools, with graduation and celebrations and different things going on, families, be prepared. You're going to continue to hear some tweaks to the procedures and process, because hopefully these restrictions are lifted even more than they were when we received our end of the year celebration guidance at the end of April. They've even improved even more, and those capacities are going up. So stay tuned. Those principals will be sending out more information. So will I in this weekly connection as these weeks come forward. So please just remain patient, and we'll get that information out to you as it continues to develop. And it leads us to our recognition for this week. And this person is a very special person to us here in Kenton. Miss Kenton herself. We joke and we even call her the Deputy Superintendent because of everything that she does, Miss GINA Santa Maria. Miss Santa Maria is our district clerk and also the assistant to the superintendent, who was responsible for organizing every aspect of Tuesday's election. School districts like Kenton are required to organize and manage their own elections, including the annual budget vote and Board of Education election, as well as capital project votes. This responsibility all falls on Miss Santa Maria as district clerk. Conducting a fair and secure election is a tremendous responsibility, and one that she takes extremely seriously. It is a mammoth undertaking and takes months of planning. GINA works closely with the Erie County Board of Elections and plans all aspects of voting and monitoring the election process. This year, she's also had to ensure the health and safety of the election workers and voters throughout the day. And boy, did she do a great job. For any of you that came out on Tuesday to the election, it was very comfortable, well organized, all thanks to Miss Santa Maria. This was GINA's 8th election, and she once again did an amazing job. Her responsibilities go far beyond organizing elections, however. GINA was the first individual to serve as both assistant to the superintendent and district clerk, as she supports the work of both the superintendent and the Board of Education. And it takes a special person to be able to do and handle all of those responsibilities, I can tell you firsthand. GINA is responsible for planning and managing the monthly Board of Education meeting agendas, which include dozens of important items and must be properly accounted for, processed, and recorded. She ensures that all local, state, and federal requirements are followed and that the district is always best serving our families and the community. She is responsible for overseeing day-to-day district operations, administrative functions, and record keeping. She organizes major events like Student Artist Reception and the Retiree Reception. She also serves as a bridge between the superintendent, Board of Education, and all members of the community, including family, staff, municipal leaders, and residents. You could go on and on and on, and it's just really very fortunate that we have somebody like GINA in our district. She has made significant improvements to administrative operations, including overhauling the district's Board of Education policy manual and improving public access to board meetings and information. All the organization during this pandemic at the board meetings, you'll know that GINA is at the center of it. During GINA's tenure as district clerk, the Kenton School District has been cited as an exemplar for openness, transparency, and public access for information by the Buffalo Niagara Coalition of Open Government. GINA has worked to facilitate, and this is the most important part, collaboration and training for clerks throughout our region. And we are lucky to have her here in our district. I know our community would agree. And folks, that brings us to the end of our connection for this week. I really want to thank really the citizens of Kenton, our families, for all of your support, all of your hard work and dedication, and all of our teamwork. We're one team. And no one person, no small group is ever stronger than the team. Together, we will always make this happen, and we will find solutions. Because together we are Kenton strong, together we are Kenton proud, and we will continue moving Kenton forward. Thank you very much for your dedication. Thank you very much for your constant perseverance and your constant trust that we will do best by your children. Have a wonderful weekend.